Welcome to the La Grim Reaper channel, where we bring you bone-chilling true stories from around the world. From haunted houses to unexplained disappearances, we have it all. So turn off the lights, grab a blanket, and get ready for a scare.
My name is Sam. Just your average guy with an ordinary job. At that time, I had just moved into a new place, a snug little house far away from the city's hustle and bustle. It wasn't much, but it was perfect for me. My house sat on the outskirts of town, surrounded by an endless sea of towering trees that swayed gently with the wind. The morning sunbeams filtered through their leaves, casting dappled patterns of light and shade on the ground. The cicadas sang their symphony at night, a lullaby that lulled me to sleep. From the outside, the house was a two-story charmer, painted a deep midnight blue. It had a porch that overlooked the woods and an attic with a window that framed the twinkling stars. The interior was cozy and welcoming, with wooden flooring and soft yellow walls that were warm to the eyes. But isolation has a price, as I'd soon learn. It's not the silence that gets to you, it's the loudness of your thoughts. There is no white noise to drown them out, or distractions to pull your attention away. The solitude I had sought now held a strange undercurrent, an unspoken eeriness that prickled at the back of my mind. I was truly alone, and for the first time since moving in, I started to question my decision. But it was home. My home. The isolation, the woods, and the rustling leaves were all part of the package. At least, that's what I told myself, brushing off the unease that seemed to grow with each passing day. I was a city boy in the wilderness. After all, there was bound to be a period of adjustment. Unfamiliar surroundings, unfamiliar sounds. It was natural to feel a bit out of place. A strange unease began to creep into my peace. In the days that followed, it was a subtle, nagging sensation, like the prickling feeling you get when you think someone's watching you. It started as a faint whisper in the back of my mind, a shadow lurking, just out of sight, gradually growing louder and more insistent. I tried to ignore it and chalked it up to my overactive imagination, fueled by too many late-night crime shows. Yet, the feeling lingered, an unseen presence that grew with each passing day. The isolation that once felt soothing began to take on a sinister edge. The silence was no longer comforting. It became a vacuum, a void in which my fears found space to grow. Then there was that unfamiliar car in my otherwise peaceful solitude. A sleek, dark sedan, its windows tinted. It would appear at the end of my driveway every so often, sometimes early in the morning when the dew still clung to the grass, sometimes late at night when the moon was the only source of light. Its presence was as baffling as it was unnerving. There was no reason for it to be there. No houses nearby. No lost tourists looking for directions. Yet, it was there. A stark contrast against the natural tranquility of the woods, an urban anomaly in my rural paradise. The strange noises began around the same time. Soft whispers carried by the wind, rustling leaves that sounded like hushed footsteps. They were just out of the ordinary enough to set my nerves on edge. There were even times when I could have sworn I heard a low murmuring, like a distant conversation muffled by the thick wall of trees surrounding my property. I couldn't make out the words, but the sound was there, an auditory phantom that sent chills down my spine. The unease in my gut didn't just linger, it intensified, wrapping around me like an icy shroud. The sense of being watched wasn't just a feeling anymore. It was a certainty. Each creak of the floorboards, each gust of wind brushing against the house's facade, seemed to carry an almost sentient malevolence. I was no longer just imagining the eyes on me. I was almost certain they were there, hidden amongst the darkened trees, tracking my every movement. And the car showed up more often, the same dark silhouette parked at the same spot at the edge of my property. Its presence seemed to be coordinated with the sun's descent, each appearance casting a longer and darker shadow that melded with the approaching night. The glint of moonlight against its metallic exterior was my nightly reminder of an uninvited intrusion. Then came that afternoon that took the lingering unease and twisted it into an insidious dread. I was at my desk, crunching numbers for a report, when the doorbell echoed through the house. The sudden noise was startling in the quiet afternoon, an unwelcome interruption that sent my heart racing. I wasn't expecting any visitors or deliveries. The nearest neighbors were miles away. As I approached the front door, a chill ran down my spine, the hairs at the back of my neck standing up, as if warning me of an unseen danger. When I swung open the door, the sight that greeted me wasn't a friendly face or a delivery guy. It was nothing. An empty porch, save for a few leaves dancing in the wind. My eyes darted around, the surrounding woods eerily silent. The only sound, the soft rustling of the trees. It was then I heard the roar of an engine coming to life. My gaze turned towards the driveway, just in time to see the unfamiliar car speeding away, kicking up a cloud of dust behind it. The air grew thick with a sense of foreboding. My heart pounded in my chest like a drum, matching the throbbing in my head. This wasn't just a random ding-dong ditch. This felt personal and targeted. I walked back inside, the dread clutching at my chest. My breath hitched in my throat as I double-checked all the locks. My mind a whirlwind of worry. I tried to shake it off, to dismiss it as a stupid prank, but the unsettling feeling wouldn't budge. The following day, I tried my best to get back into the swing of things. Amidst the rattle of my nerves, there was work to be done. I tried to focus on the rhythmic clicks of the keyboard and the mundane chit-chat of my colleagues on the conference call. I hoped the familiar rhythm of work would serve as a temporary refuge from my paranoia. Still, my fear was a persistent companion, a whispered echo in the backdrop of every conversation. The sun began to dip beneath the horizon, painting the sky with hues of fading light. I was deep in the midst of a call when I heard it, a loud crash, an explosive sound that echoed through the now darkened house. It was as if the serene picture of my quiet afternoon had been shattered, its pieces clattering to the ground. My heart pounded in my chest, my blood turned cold, and the voice on the other end of the call became a distant hum. Excusing myself, I got up from my chair, every step toward the living room, amplifying the sinking feeling in my stomach. The sight that greeted me froze me to the core. My living room looked like a cyclone had swept through it. The window was wide open, curtains fluttering madly in the chilling wind, and amidst the chaos stood a figure. A man, masked, silent, ominous. Adrenaline kicked in as the intruder lunged. I sidestepped, his momentum carrying him forward and providing me a split second to turn on my heel and bolt. I sprinted to my office, my heart pounding louder than the frantic footfalls, echoing behind me. I slammed the door behind me, twisting the lock just as a thud echoed from the other side. Panic was my unwanted companion as I fumbled with my phone, dialing 911. I quickly explained the situation in hushed tones, my voice trembling as much as my hands were. On the other side of the door, the intruder was relentless, each thud a chilling reminder of the imminent danger. Then the door gave way. With a crash, it swung open, revealing the masked intruder, His hesitation at the sight of me was all the opportunity I needed. With a burst of adrenaline, fueled strength, I lunged at him, catching him off balance. We tumbled to the ground, a tangled mess of limbs and fear. The sound of sirens wailed in the distance, growing steadily louder. The intruder struggled beneath me, but I held on, my survival instincts pushing me past my limits. As the sirens crescendoed, the front door burst open, and a rush of uniformed officers filled the room. The relief that washed over me was indescribable, but it was coupled with bone-deep exhaustion. The officers quickly apprehended the intruder. His muffled protests were lost amidst the chaos. I sat back, panting, my body shaking as the adrenaline began to wear off. As I sat there, surrounded by the flashing lights and the frenzied chatter of the police, I watched them lead the intruder away. His mask was removed, and a face was revealed. A face that bore no significant feature. A face that could blend into any crowd, unnoticed. It was the face of the notorious burglar, who had been the talk of the town, known for targeting isolated houses just like mine. One of the officers approached me, his face a mixture of relief and admiration. He explained how they had been on this guy's trail for months, how his MO was to stake out his victims, watch their routines, and learn their habits. He had thought that I would be an easy target, that I'd be too absorbed in my work to notice anything amiss. The officer's words hung in the air, a cold reminder of my close brush with danger. I couldn't help but shudder, the icy tendrils of fear coiling in my stomach. The sanctuary I had sought in this house, the isolation and peace I had craved, had nearly become my downfall. In the days that followed, my house, which was once my sanctuary, now echoed with eerie silence. The walls felt like they were closing in. The solitude I had once relished was now a cloak of unease. Each creak, each whisper of wind was a reminder of the intruder, of the danger that had lurked so close. I made a decision then. I needed to move, to find a new sanctuary that wasn't tarnished by fear and threats. But this time, I would be smarter, safer. I installed a high-tech security system in my new home, ensuring every inch of my property was monitored. And every inch of my property was monitored and every possible point of entry secured.
We hope you enjoyed our spine-tingling stories. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel to stay updated on our latest uploads. Until next time, sweet dreams, if you can sleep at all.